only him. So the Holy Bible says, Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ, was born on Christmas Day. Hark now, hear the angels sing, a king was born today, and man will live forevermore because of Christmas Day. Mary's boy child, Jesus Christ, was born on Christmas Day. While shepherds watched the flocks by night to see the bright new shining star, they hear a choir sing a song. The music seemed to come from afar. Hark now, hear the angels sing, a king was born today. A man will live forevermore because of Christmas Day. Yeah. People shouting it, everyone know there is hope for all to find peace. Oh my Lord, you said to save us, oh my Lord. Your better said you gave us, oh my Lord. That same mean I slave us on labyrinths once more. At the oh my Lord, when on the great defensive, oh my Lord. I'll go in all the quantity, oh my Lord. They got the Lord around it and to see me, him in my door. Oh my Lord, you send your son to save us, oh my Lord. Your very self to keep us, oh my Lord. The same me not as papers now, on Mary's once more. Oh my Lord, one on the pretty from the oh my Lord. I'll go in all the party, oh my Lord. They got the Lord around and him to see him in a door. Why yo?
Jesus is the reason for the season. Ho 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 ho!
Yes, indeed, of course, pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yeah, I thought I would start with a little reggae tonight. Reggae, of course, Christmas music. And of course, I trust that you approve the Christmassy, of course, screen or background that we have tonight, because you're going to get a number of that as well. And I trust, of course, that the synchronization or the real-time scenario is much better now. We did do some improvement over the last 2 days, having gotten, of course, a little setback. But that being as it may, the reality is that we have a job to do and we will damn well do it. So let's hear a little bit of our Jamaican brothers in, of course, the Christmas mood.
Christmas.
Of course, those of you who prefer YouTube, not YouTube, sorry, because you're on YouTube. I mean, most of you will be on YouTube now, but in case you want to go on Facebook, well, of course, you have to key now Alfred John. Alfred John will take you straight, of course, to the Corridor Transformation every night on the Corridor Transformation. Let me repeat. Log into Alfred John, ALFRED JOHN, and you will get us on, of course, Facebook. YouTube as normal. You just log into Corridor Transformation and you will get the program there. Yes, indeed.
From afar, now hear the angels sing. The King was born today, and we'll live forevermore because of Christmas Day. Friends from Tobago, Christmas they reaching Fat Meadow with a box piece and a quattro, a violin and a banjo. They say they always had a plan to give me family a parang. They make up my mommy right away when they ring out with the flowers. My Jeffrey, oh, get up. Hey, like you are here, the neighbor cock crowing, oh girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh. Kitchen, oh girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh, wait up. I hope you know it's white oak a drinking, oh girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up.
Yes, indeed, of course. So once again, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Of course, it is another edition, this, of course, the 26th day of November, the penultimate month, meaning the month before the ultimate, the penultimate month in the year 2024. So we have a final month, which is, of course, December. So we are now in November, the penultimate month before the end. That is what penultimate means. But that being as it may, let us, of course, continue to look at the two fundamentals. And these days I've been getting, of course, questions and, of course, inquiries as to the amount of monies that have been spent or expended by this government. But I want to take it, of course, in, not that we have not been there before, but I think it is necessary so to do at this point in time, having regard, of course, to that. And that is to say, to demonstrate that it is stereotypical of the PNM to, of course, borrow, and, of course, leave it up to having, of course, exhausted the tolerance level of the population, leave it up to an incoming government in order to, of course, repay those monies or to put the economy back on even keels. I want to tell you that on this occasion, Dr. Rowley and his what I consider to be profligate team, their wasteful team, they cannot even be described as prodigal sons because they came with nothing. But they want to go out of office with, of course, endless craters of money, wealth, and believe that there should be no consequences because somehow the population will have to accept that. So they believe that they got it honestly, that they got it whilst in office. And as I told someone with respect, of course, to the Salary Review Commission's recommendations, and while I agree implicitly without contradiction or without any ambiguity the position of the opposition leader, and she included herself. Because when one look at the percentage increases that was recommended, the opposition leader would have gotten, of course, the highest percentage, I think 50-something percent. Rowley would have gotten the second highest of about 40-something percent. But the fact of the matter is that in real terms, hers would have moved from about $30-something thousand to about $50,000. But that nonetheless would have been in percentage increase the highest amount. One would say, of course, from the perspective of an opposition leader in the context of Trinidad and Tobago and the task of a genuine opposition leader, and having regard, of course, to the amount of work that they had to do in order to keep Rowley and they in line, and even more work that has to be done, because they simply will not rest. Rowley and they will not rest. It appears that they have a proclivity, a propensity, they have a predilection to empty the treasury of Trinidad and Tobago. But the point I am making with respect, of course, to the opposition leader is that money, $30,000 thereabout, is small. But she said in no uncertain terms, without any kind of equivocality, meaning any kind of course, doubt, that listen, the opposition leader must not get any increase, referencing herself, as indeed the Prime Minister, and indeed, of course, members of the government, and indeed, of course, all the politicians. But of course, she was a very, what I consider to be eclectic, a very selective in terms of who should. And then she talks about, of course, the public servants, including, of course, those in the magistracy, or should I say, in the judiciary, to be much more, let's say, comprehensive. Judiciary will include, of course, the magistracy as well as the upper courts, or the high courts and appeal courts in the country. But that being as it may, the fact of the matter is that she had sacrificed herself, not on the altar of expediency, but a genuine sacrifice, in that she decided that she must not get an increase at this point in time. However, she has agreed that the members of the judiciary and the public servants must get that increase. So I want to make it very, very, very clear. And of course, she reiterated that matter last night. So I have no difficulty with that at all. And of course, it demonstrates that she is, of course, a person vying for the office of Prime Minister and waiting to be Prime Minister. And as far as I am concerned, not she, I think that the population is impatiently awaiting her arrival. I want to say as well that when that time comes, we have a duty as a people, because we know what the PNM will be up to. They will try to sanitize themselves. They will try to absolve themselves by the usual modus operandi, deflecting attention away from their either past iniquities or, in this case, the current iniquities. But of course, happen on the past concocted issues relating, of course, to their opponents. You see, when they are in office, they blame, of course, the opposition, and of course, the party to be blamed, and in this case, the individual to be blamed is Kamala Prasad Bisasa, the UNC. And when they are out of office, and the UNC is in office, they then, of course, still absolve themselves from any iniquities, and of course, begin, of course, to pinpoint, usually, of course, frivolous, usually, of course, of course, pinpoint the shortcomings with, of course, extreme exaggeration of the government in power, in this case, of course, the UNC under Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the past. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because no one is infallible, including, of course, the UNC and its leadership. But what we know for sure is that they will do much better than that of the PNM by any measure or standard. Let's go to the lines. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Yes, good night, Lennox.
Yes.
You know, after that story break yesterday with all this condemnation the PNM involved in, you know, they gone to the story with you talking about it with Kamala today, right? This PNM sycophant talk show host and them to deflect and talk about what Kamala saying that how she am not taking any money, right?
Yes.
But that's politically right thing to do because when she was in government, she refused it. Also, when it came up and she said she's not taking it at all, right? So I don't know what stupidness them coming with. They say, oh, she have money this year. What happened? Like, whatever the woman have, it is one day eye. She had a big nice house. Man didn't take up it and bring it in parliament and showing off the woman house. Yeah? But you know, to go down and snap all the pictures with Rowdy own all these different buildings all over the place. They wouldn't do that. Yeah, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't show you. The air conditioning, yeah, goat and sheep in. Some of them even have a fan in their house. Yeah, they're defending the man. The worst is why here a man come on the radio station and say that how he justifying Dr. Rowdy should be the only one to get this increase because why? He saved this country and he had the country at heart. He had the country at what? At heart or fat? Because I can't see the country moving forward and he put in this country into serious debt. And your children had to dig their way out of that hole before they're born there in debt. A man coming and talking and giving Rowdy an increase. But I will send the clip for you.
Yeah, do that because of his. Why I'm laughing so heartily is because I am not surprised, and two, well, of course, I expect all callers, based on the level of madness and the level of what is considered to be psychologically, of course, cognitive dissonance. And they know that the blasted PNM and Rowley is no damn good. But they will say that for saying sake, and therefore you bring, of course, to the program comic relief. So that's why I'm laughing, because that has to be a comedian who is talking that level of hogwash and diatribe. All right, so do not feel that I am in any way intended, of course, to reduce the significance of your presentation, nor am I, of course, seeing you as ludicrous. All right.
Because I know he do to show that capital D. I'm sending it for you now.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks very much, my friend. Yeah, so you are going to get to those. I mean, it is the silly season. But the point I am making is that when they are out of office, and they then, of course, reverse it, but have the same pattern of behavior. But the only difference is that they are now in opposition. So what they do, they of course try to sanitize themselves and then blame, of course, the government for every single thing. And don't tell me all they don't understand that. Let me give you a very practical, concurrent, and existential scenario. In Tobago, you think under the PNM, the chief administrator there would have been subjected, whether it be London or his subsequent replacement. I'm talking about Denzel Dennis. Do you think that he would have been hung down by the police, or any police would have gone across there to look for a audio tape that caused the man, of course, to go in the house across there in Tobago and say that there's a conspiracy to undermine his administration by Rowley, the commissioner of police and elements in Tobago. So we know, but let's go to the line. A pleasant good night, welcome.
Hello, good evening, Lennox.
Good day.
Yes, I'm calling.
Yes.
I don't understand someone because I'm too long joined. Talk about Camille Regis, what she said. Mrs. Pasabi says I don't want money because she thief from the treasury.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I mean,
I
include
want to
requests, but go ahead. Yes.
I want to remind that woman, if she remembers the check she take to go to she fertility clinic, and the chandelier that she brought,
Yeah.
you understand?
Yes.
And she walk in a bank with a bag of money and refuse to state where she get the money from.
Yes.
You see, some people thief and satisfy, and some is sick and never satisfy. Mrs. Pasabi says, satisfy, okay, I thief from the treasury. So I don't want no more money. But you do so much thing, and you still want money. Wicked, nasty people like them. And when she take the check, I didn't know, I paid back. You know? A big lawyer, and she didn't know what she was doing. It was illegal.
Yeah, come crying, crocodile tears to the public, and that time she guilty as hell. Right? The fact is that those things occurred. She took out money from one bank, said she put it in the next bank, and when the investigation was launched, it shows that she took out no money from the original bank, but suddenly money came from the sky, like it was some devilish, what is called devilish manna from hell. Devilish manna from hell. I can't talk about heaven in the same breath with, of course, these people who are clearly nefarious. Go ahead.
But our leader and Paris Harari said she did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. But if I go in the bank and have a little $20 to call him all in my house to find out, I will get $20.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, man. So people are not stupid. People are conscious as to what is happening. Don't forget, people, if you need to see us right now on Facebook, you log into Alfred John on Facebook. Of course, as normal, we are on YouTube. Normal, you log into, of course, Corridor Transformation. Nobody comment me yet for the background. But I'm sure the program is still early, so I expect that a little later. A pleasant good night, welcome.
Good night, Lennox.
Good night, my friend.
All the best to you. This is Diego Martin in the house late in the night.
Yes, man, that's all right, man. It could be late, early, it doesn't matter. Once you are making your presence felt.
I look up. It's very, very sad that I can't go outside and watch the smooth and the stars because you know who could come.
Yes,
and me
yes.
get me a few yet to stand my ground, so
Yes,
I can mitigate it. But listen to me. It's comings and goings. What they call them, a comedian.
Well, all of them. It's not just him. I mean, Larry Joseph and the other Joseph will have some serious competition with these fellas. I believe that they auditioned for Carnival. Go ahead.
He opening and commissioning a $42 million library. What backward step is that? That is mortar and bricks. If they had followed the lead from Kamala Prasad Bisesha government, all these people up in his area would have the device, right? The electronic device, because if they had that, they could have access e-books. So they don't have to go into a place which is designed with bricks and mortar. Tertiary level education, higher level education, you could be enrolled in MIT and right down in Trinidad doing your courses online and accessing the whole MIT library. If you do law, you could access the whole law library. If you do medicine, the same thing. So I want to ask him a simple question. The fact that he built mortar and bricks for $42 million, who get the 10% in that contract, the kickback? Which contractor? He has to tell us that. And they have definitely identified with us and accept our criticism of them that what they have done, they have proved they have gone back to prehistoric development. Remember, we wanted to go, they say we're going digital, eh? And look where they're going. And like we just said, I mean, there's no sense. But more importantly, I know what they do that, you know. You remember the statement, hyena in African jungles?
Yes,
And
yes.
remember?
Yeah,
when
referring
a
to
parent-
our young girls.
Right, and when a parent, apparently they build that library for those sort of people, patrons to use it, because you don't need a physical place to access library now, man. I mean to say this government is really prehistoric in development, you know. They remind me of the first Minister of Education. I used to call him Rip Van Winkle, the Garcia man,
Yes.
who was a woodwork teacher. I recall him give him a scholarship to do woodwork, to come back to teach children woodwork. And he make a miniature of himself and fall asleep by making it. I'm going to have a nice time.
Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. I mean, I'm always amazed, and I want to tell the caller, of course, go to the top of the class. But I've always been amazed, of course, with the high level of contributions and the knowledge that and what has to be intrigued. And I want young people to be listening and watching and make your contributions as well. Not that, of course, you in the beginning may be intimidated because, of course, it's an international audience, etc. But of course, I have learned very early that communication is essentially what you want to say and not how you say it. So even though, of course, you use some green verbs and what is called green verbs and so on, the fact is that once we understand what you're saying, it means therefore communication would have been made and your contribution would have been received. But let's go straight to the lines there, because the lines are expected to be firing at top speed at this point in time. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox, and all your listeners.
Yes, indeed.
And I would like them to share this podcast to each and every one. Tell a friend and tell a neighbor, tell your best enemy, and go tell it down in Balize House that we, UNC activists, are coming strong. So,
in spite of what they did, because they tried to say, but I presented an argument to YouTube yesterday, appealing, of course, that decision, because somebody write and say that I said I was spreading false medical information about when I talked about dog and insects being, of course, eaten by as a delicacy, in fact, by Oriental people, and of course I had to show them in Japan, China, and so on. The people still eat dog, frog, and of course insects. As a consequence of that, immediately I got back my YouTube, of course. Should I say activated? So they try, but of course on these frivolous matters they must inform themselves, and then of course they could of course attack a program such as this, whether it's this program or the corridor transformation or the ground report, especially when I am a part of. I make no bones, of course, being a stickler for details, one, and for proof of what you are saying, and to say what you can prove. Go ahead, my friend. Sorry about that.
No, we have a dialogue, not an analog.
Okay.
And
good.
this, you know, and I will tell Bridget, and he said, George, sit down and shut you up. I'm making my contribution.
That's
So
right.
you make your contribution, brother.
Thank
You
you.
have the floor. My great one, because here we're going on.
Yes.
That 3 balls you see hanging behind you, and those things what are glittering coming down to the ground.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
I love them balls, how they're hanging.
I'm trying to make as Christmassy as possible for the rest of the time that we have. We are now, of course, in the penultimate month before Christmas. The true Christmas spirit will catch us, but I say let me start it early. Go ahead.
Right, and in the spirit of Christmas, which I am asking the listeners, please, SOS, be kind-hearted in these hard times where money, finances is very hard to come by and to manage. It have a elasticness, pay as it come, it going back. But please make a little small something to the Chota Baptist Children Toy Drive, please now. We begging. And in Jesus' name we beg. And Jesus said, ask, and it will be given unto you. Seek,
Yes,
and you shall find.
Well said.
And
Well
we are
said.
just knocking. We are just knocking on all your hearts to see if it will open unto us. So, Mr. Lennox, now, after I say that now, it's me and you now.
Go ahead, man.
And I will be brutal to you.
No problem, as
November
usual.
almost-
As usual. But your brutality is always very very placid and welcoming. So go ahead.
Yeah. So there's 9 more months now. We coming closer, 9 more months. And here what's going on. And no, the PNM activists and them, they know what to do. And you know what's the nice thing about it? You see when they play all fours, and you have a feeling that your partner on the opposite side, have right on your right side, have Jack, and you are the cat to hang it, but you can't call him out. And your partner, you want to know what your partner have to call him out with, right? But just imagine, you have S and Jack, and your partner have just 3 pieces of bush and 2 tens included. So here we're going on now. You do so now and you tell your partner play wrong. So when he call it 10, right? Your partner, now he do so he throw Jack because he tell himself, you read your sign. And you see, he throw the Jack thinking then it's scotch free. What I mean by that now, and you hang it, I could say now that because of the current transformation and the good work of the wrong report, togetherness, you pull them out, all the activists and all the sycophants, and as Santa Cruz say, the canal conks and them, we bring them out in the flood.
Yes.
So we exhaust them, and they can't say nothing because here what's going on. I want to know that Rowley went to India and meet the richest man in India. And right now, then I want to ask YouTube if I can say, the donkey is grass.
Yes,
because
I hear you.
because right, I want to know now, I want the sycophants and them with all the diversion to say that you take away the land from the panmen and them, and you give them to build a cricket facility to bring revenue. You bankrupt the country alive for 9 years, and all the investment and all the supporters, if they get the rice and the oil yet, and just imagine, right? You just tell them that here what's going on. We at the UNC provided a better life for each and everybody. Just imagine, you see the stigma and the stiffness this political leader in the PNM is doing to his supporters. Just imagine, the people who are supposed to vote, they're making mischief now to divert attention with Fitzgerald Hines. But I just want to ask them, next year now, when 500 police vehicles have to come, where the fire unit tenders on them for all the fire station they build? Where is the boat repairs for the Coast Guard and where the vessel on them? They're going to buy new one again. And 7 billion plus, 6 billion plus money just done in a budget. Yeah? So let's see more lies and more lies. And the thief, we want the thief the election to stay in office to get away from jail time.
Yes.
But just imagine, they're pushing all the boundaries and they put the house party now in areas of like a safe lane. I wanted to call YouTube and tell them and ask them in the Cora, up in Cora, what they're doing for the Telapuna seat. And what they're doing in San Fernando and what they want to do in the grounds, the right to take away sporting ground and facilities. So we had the evidence and then they will come and try to put it on. So unless the supporters and the sycophants and then the sycophants and them and the activists on the social media, please present the argument where all are getting our money to build Balize House now. Mr. Lennox, let me see if I can give somebody else a chance to talk.
I hear you. Yes. Sorry about that. But I want to tell you it's only about 2 days, if so long. All right?
Okay.
But when you are that when you are that important, of course, our fees as a week. So I appreciate that because I've been there myself, because I too in the spirit of reciprocity also miss you all and your contribution. That's why I'm so enthusiastic tonight as well. But I want to say, of course, it is typical of these to expect those sycophants and those what I consider to be talk show hoax. They don't speak the truth. And of course, there's always something that is, of course, illusional, and there's something that is a figment of their imagination. But like Rowley, they dig deep, of course, to produce lies, deception, and of course, in a total state of what I consider to be cognitive dissonance. That is to say, they can't get people to believe. So they, of course, they get more and more desperate. And the more desperate they become, the more lies that they tell that are phantasmagorical. And you want to know, well, what planet they come from? If they now come possibly from the sun, the major star that, of course, lights up, of course, our own universe. That being as it may, of course, a pleasant good night. Welcome, Mr. Tagarigua.
Hey, you hear me good?
Yes, loud and clear, my friend. What, boy? You're sounding much better now, boy. That's probably because...
Listen to me, eh?
Yes.
When you play poker in a game, you have to be an expert at it.
I hear you.
I hope Kamla playing this poker game right. Now, I heard us say last night that Rowdy and them could take that money with a simple majority.
Yes.
Then Kamla gave the $2,500 pension. Somebody from Lavante called and say she only give me that because them getting. You hear me?
Because you what?
She only gave people in Lavante and the $2,500 a month pension
Uh-huh.
because she people getting. Now just imagine the audacity of that. Eh?
Yeah.
I heard Petit Valley talk tonight. I tell you what a woman say about Kamala need no money, she keep it up.
Yeah.
But you see, Kamala can create them opportunities.
Yeah.
My team had a great program tonight. And they had a fella called Heavy Talk on that program.
Uh-huh.
And 7, Reese.
Yes.
Heavy say, it don't make sense wasting time with the sycophants in the PLM.
Uh-huh.
So no matter what they do, they go tell you Rowdy is the only man could rule the country.
Yeah.
So Kamala have to know, and apart from you, my kids and a couple of you, Kamala all have to know she play the game. Don't leave no opportunity for Rowdy and them to talk.
Yeah. No, I agree because when you blow hot and cold, so to speak, and even though you are more hot than cold, let me say you are brackish. Brackish water is really water that is more cold than hot. But the fact of the matter is that you do not leave any room for that cold part of it.
Correct.
If you're hot, you're hot. And that's it. And hot represents here positive, as opposed to cold that represents, of course, negative. So go ahead.
Good.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, right?
Yes.
Now let me tell you something now. Look how much thing Kamala do for this country. And if Rowdy and them go ahead and take that increase, I tell you straight, if I was Kamala, I taking that too, I have to take it. I ain't even that because him though she ain't taking it, every woman say already. She have enough money, she keep enough for it.
No, let's get it clear, my friend. If with the slim majority they pass that increase, right? Nobody could refuse the money. Nobody.
So she has to take it, right?
So she has to take it, that's right. Right?
Very
She has
good.
to take it. Yeah.
I
Because it is passed. You see, they can't pass for. If I say they pass it for all, they could of course also say give it to only the judiciary and the public servants. But they cannot say pass it for only ministers and prime minister and so on, because all of them will be lumped as politicians. So therefore everybody will have to benefit from it. Yeah.
Oh God, look how much things she do for the country and not getting that money. But I make a noise and make sure I get my money.
Yeah.
But like that, and she has to take it.
Yes, she has to. She has no choice. She has to choose. Once they pass it, she is saying no. The opposition is opposed to that. She said that of course, if you want to be elected, be selective. Give it to the public servants and the judiciary, but the politicians must not get. What Rowley and they would do is of course pass it so that all politicians will have to take it and probably generate the asinine narrative as of course those talk show hoax and those nincompoops that claim that they are self of course appointed intellectuals that are total and absolute dunderhead. Their logic is unfathomable, and their sense of intellectual and cognitive and of course cerebral prowess, I mean, leaves much to be desired. I can't talk about donkey with them. I can't talk about hog with them. I can't talk about pig with them. Of course, I will say that dogs are notch above all of them, having regard to the sense that dogs make, in the life of human beings as a companion. Go ahead.
Yeah, and dogs is noble animals. Yeah, noble animals.
Yes, man. Yes. You have them in your house, just as cats, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. But I guess it's automatic once it's passed and already and they've taken. That camera, I no choice, she has to take it.
She has to take it, yes.
Not about that. One other thing before I go let out.
Go ahead.
We heard about all these laws they're passing, right?
Yes.
With demerit points and people losing their license and all kind of thing, right? It has no speed limit signs on the road.
Yes.
I know I try no police on the area is terrible.
Yeah.
Don't mind that larger, but you know where that is. And be supermarket. That is the top areas. As well as passing 2 to 65 and 70 miles an hour enough.
Wow.
I'm telling you why. The drivers I like that going crazy. My point is, why Rwanda and I put this speed limit sign on the road?
Yeah, because there are ways and means, of course, of slowing down traffic, especially in what is considered to be residential communities. I mean, you can't put that on a main road or a highway, but certainly you can do that in, of course, residential areas.
So, if you watch your behind.
Yeah, drive at a pace at the risk of mashing up your car. Or if you
I know, you could mash up your car, we kill people now.
Yes.
But the top areas, you know, on Chaga, Reach Road. In the 60s, you couldn't blow your horn after 8 o'clock, you know.
All right.
Under the bridges, you couldn't blow no horn there, you know. Yeah, but you know when there's back off the bridges and whatnot?
Yeah, but today, of course, the decibel is, of course, busting your ears on a regular basis, particularly on a weekend.
On my key program tonight, you know, pull it up, Just for each way talk. They want to know what the message you must send. You talk about going to report everything all you're trying, right?
Yeah.
But then pick up and thing, understand nothing. If you say that, you say, I don't miss my guy talking to them. You have a radio show too. And if you just come on and talk, all them want to hear about is Rowley. Right?
Yeah.
I might just tell you straight, don't put up no candidate in Lavantel.
Yeah.
And well, I know you ever like that.
No, if they don't want to, that is their prerogative, just as in Tobago. But of course, help me in going up. I have no problem with that. A man who like, as they would say, punishment like I do, because of my belief. I see no reason why you can't put that, make an investment in that. Who knows? You never could tell where it will go.
They go to 3 flyers and call that
but to leave it as is, to make the PNM believe that they are dominant and that they are infallible is not an option in a democracy.
They will get more to talk about.
Yeah.
And say, you see, they don't care about it, just that they will bring in the restock and all these companies.
Yes.
So, if Canada want to put a candidate in Lavatel, put them, but you want to go there and
That's right, yes, and we will cut an arrangement. Tonight, of course, I will try to start remember, our series now is some of the Rowley post-PNM initiative that must be taken, and I give the assurance that the UNC is really able, willing, and have the capacity and the cadre of expertise and persons at the grassroots level to assist. And my series is merely to show that we have done it already by the people, of the people, and for the people, recognizing the issue, and we can do it again. But of course, the PNM has lacked that capacity, and a fellow like Hines, who of course it really gets on like a peacock, but really has no depth and no, of course, substance. But only superficial, so much so that of course they run him out and they beat him under heavy doses of dirty water.
But man, he kick him out of the parliament.
Beautiful. So Rowley likes, of course, the rejects, and therefore attempting to make Trinidad and Tobago a domain of incompetence, impotence, and the inability to move forward by, of course, institutionalizing what is called a non-meritocracy.
Last thing I want to say, Lennox, because I know you have another callers lined up.
Yes.
You text my chief program tonight. What is the message we must send? Because you talking, my chief has talked, and everybody, but this, every say forget the PNM people. Don't work with them. When you get in a conversation with them, you walk away. You can't convince them.
Right. So why if it's a foregone conclusion. Just so. If it's a foregone conclusion, as far as they are concerned, there's no message to send. We know that whatever message you concoct, whatever message you generate, whatever message you manufacture, they will of course see things skew it in a particular way to of course defend the indefensible. So we have to accept the fact that they are people who are set in their ways, and they will not change. But I am certain that as human beings, they will go home in the night and of course search their conscience, and eventually. But the majority of us, must carry the weight of the responsibility to transform Trinidad and Tobago, because we must do better. We can do better. I must do better. You must do better. The country must do better, because it is the right thing to do, and Rowley and they are incapable of so doing.
Well, we know that. You know that's what we say? He ain't talking about Trinidad. I ain't talking about Tobago, because he don't see what they could do already.
Yeah.
So what Trinidad?
Yeah.
Trinidad is the Trinidad Seco he's talking about.
Right. Yeah, but you understand where I'm coming from. I am not impressed at all. We have to talk. They are going to listen. We have to talk, and you cannot be on a program like this and say you're talking, of course, to one group of people. Right? Why? Because rain falls on everybody's house top when it is falling. So let's not waste time. If people want to reject it, well, fine, they reject it. But you have to talk.
Yeah, no, you must talk.
Yeah, you cannot be selective.
If you ain't talking.
Yeah, those who want to talk, they will be selective. They who would say whether they want to listen to Smith or they want to listen to the talk show hoax sponsored by the PNM, etc. But the fact that they could talk in the way that they are talking, they listen, of course, to us, and then, of course, form their narrative to counter ridiculous and, of course, ludicrous and asinine as they all are. All right.
I have to remember, if you ain't talk, and Mikey ain't talk,
yes,
and Stephen Reach and ain't talk, and Heavy and them fellas, this country has no information.
That's right. Evil will prevail. Let's not waste time. It is a simple case where, of course, if evil is stalking the land, and the good, righteous, and heavenly, and objective, and optimistic remain silent, then of course you are resigning yourself and of course your community to that of the evil, and we cannot afford that. That is why I'm here every night, and that is why the Ground Report is where it is, and that is why the other platforms are there. All right? Yeah. I have some people calling.
Yeah, all right, then I'll speak talk.
Yes, bye-bye. Yes.
Right?
Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah. This is Granny. I thinking that the UNC and them, they should don't be all in the ground on especially 3 constituency. Meeting those people and trying to see how they could meet with them and talk with them. St. Joseph, Tunapuna, Sangre Grande, and they have to come out in those few constituencies, right?
Yes.
And work, and they should start working from now and long before now. Now, to tell you what they have to do, I have to tell you that off the air. Because when the UNC get Calcutta constituency, that was the only person who could have taken the Calcutta constituency. And he started working long before meeting the grassroots. You hear?
Mm-hmm.
And right, that is one thing. They have to come out and 3 and 4 of those constituencies and work hard. Even though in St. Augustine, because they have the policy in St. Augustine, nobody seeing Khadija. They have nearly about 1,000 people there. They have nearly about, I don't know, 1,000 people come from Lavati and they live in New Gurupun Garden.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to come out. Jack is to come out.
Right.
That is what I say. Take that Jack in the party. Jack is a good man. He has a good heart. Jack is a worker. And give him a seat to contest. Don't keep back things for long.
Great.
And this man, Griffith, he is a very good man. He is a worker. But he is in the wrong place, his own party.
Yeah, listen,
You know?
Granny, we agree that there are some who will not conform. They believe that they are bigger than the mission, and therefore they will fall on their own dagger, so to speak. And therefore, we have to persevere, knowing that they are there, but we cannot go forward with our handbrakes up. So we have to continue and plug away. They will fall naturally by the wayside, as has been always the case.
Right, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
Nikira Pandey and Griffith, they could have made themselves small and go to the UNC and,
No, I hear you. I hear you. But at the present time, they are nuisance value. They have no value to us. So we have to move on.
Yeah. And look at them. They just make him, it's the enemy you have to get rid of. What are you going up to do?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying. They are nuisance value. They have no real value. So therefore, we cannot
Right.
focus there. Yeah.
So I hope UNC come out in time, meet the people, and see what they can do on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
that is what Granny have to say.
Thank you very much. And of course, we will talk. You can call me
And
privately.
God bless all you.
Yes.
God bless all you boys. God bless TC and Harry.
Yes. And we would like to,
You're doing it
and of
very
course,
good.
you could call me privately, and we'll have the discussion that you say we should speak privately on. All right?
Yeah, they're doing very good work. Not to say they're doing work for any so that they're doing very good work for the country.
Yes. This is
And
what
I
it's all
don't
about.
know, for the country, for the youths.
Yes.
I don't know what happens to people that they can't see further than their nose when they want to go and see their nose.
Yes.
You know? And they can't see to go further and carry the country further. Look at when Rowley went to Guyana. What Rowley could offer to the Caribbean people in Guyana. He was one of the
Well,
best
it's for the same reason he went. He went to Samoa in the Commonwealth heads of government. It's the same reason for him, of course, taking picture with Jindal at the diplomatic center or the Whitehall. Why? It's just about saying that he's on top of the world, self-aggrandizement at the expense of the rest of us.
We in Trinidad and Tobago,
Yes.
we have the best cricketer here, which is Brian Lara.
And,
it's
and we have
plenty
and we already have a cricketing academy. What more you want?
right.
Yeah.
And he could offer plenty things to the Caribbean with Brian Lara. Eh?
Yeah, but once the fella flock together. Thanks, Granny. We have another caller coming in, all right?
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for the
Yeah.
voice. God bless you.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome. That's that one. Pleasant good night. Welcome. I wonder. Oh, let me see if it's. No. Pleasant good night. All right. We lost that one then. All right, then, of course, call back. But just in case, people, quite apart from eventually the direction in which the emails went, quite apart, of course, from the fact that the PNM has not been able in government, and I tell you, based on their concoction and their manufacturing of evidence against senior UNC elements from the last UNC administration, we know that if they had any evidence, boy, their asses would have been grasses. But there is none. But we'll come back to that. Let's go straight, of course, to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
A pleasant good night to you as well, my friend.
And pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizen of this beloved country, Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, man.
Mr. Lennox, I shooting from the hip.
One time, I'm hoping it's from both hips.
Right. Mr. Lennox?
Yeah.
First thing I want to start with, I'm saying after my political leader.
Go ahead.
Who is financing Michaela Pandey party? Because it has something going on where she says she opened for talks and the PNM contacted her. And then she going to try because she's a non-entity in marginal seats.
Right.
What are you wrong with that? When you really think about it, them a vote for Michaela Pandey is a vote for the People's National Movement. And I rest my case. I'm pushing that aside.
Right.
I'm shooting from the next hip now.
Go ahead.
Mr. Lennox, it has something circling where the government of Trinidad and Tobago borrowed from 2016 to 2023 so far almost $90 billion US.
Yes.
And the time span in those loans, Dr. Raul will be dead and buried. So I say that to say they are taking loans just like when A.N.R. Robinson came into office, when they gave him a mandate, and he had was to make dread measures in order to bring back this country. And the same people come and vote him out because they say he mash up the place, he ain't get him the cooler, but thanks to him today to have the country running because of him in that era. Right?
Yes.
And now the People's National Movement borrowed money, and most of the money that they borrow, we have nothing to show where these money's gone. And I ain't started to talk about the stabilization fund yet. I just talking about money they borrow. We ain't talking about the cookie jar that they pushing the hand in, where my political leader left almost $7 billion US in there, and in the country it had $11 billion US. Where all this money gone? And when my party was in office, we were seeing value for money. We were seeing hospital. We were seeing laptops for children. We were seeing all different type of things that cost money that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago was benefiting from. And I want to tell you this thing. I want to tell you the last thing before I go, Mr. Lennox.
Go ahead.
I want you to listen carefully. Rowley them don't want back that seat, you know. Rowley them doing every single thing to get out of office because they know what's at stake. But I believe my leader, my political leader, and the United National Congress that she's controlling of, will have ways and means in order to bring back this country to Trinidad and Tobago. So PNM could jump high, they could jump low. They could run from wherever they're running from. We could deal with all of them. Mr. Lennox, people don't know what goes on in this country, you know. It's a crisis, you know.
Yes, that's
And
right.
people still talk about PNM, and they PNM till the dead, and they kill up and they, and Gary Griffith. Those political parties that play, trying to go up for seats, they are null and void, and they don't love their country. They want the PNM to remain. And all I have to say is they could do what they want, and you know it. They cannot stop the rain from falling. And I will be very secretly to tell you, it was a pleasure meeting you last night. The pleasure is mine.
Same here, my friend. All right.
All right.
Yes. I want to, the caller just made a very, what I consider a salient point that requires some serious pause and analysis. He said that, of course, the PNM don't want to go back in government. We have to be very careful here that we do not allow ourselves to be lured like the rabbit, and of course in the Bear Nancy story when he said, listen, don't throw me in the bush now, don't throw me, I hate that bush of course is dangerous, it's a snake, etc. And then of course the person who captured the rabbit threw him in the bush, and he was happy like puppy. Do not fall for that reverse psychology attempted by the PNM. You see, a person who does not want to go back in office will not tell you that he's not having any foreign observers to observe elections. A person who does not want to go back into office will not be engaging in the proliferation and intensification, whether it's through their talk show hoax or their apologists or their sycophants who will talk utter rubbish, nonsense, and as if they are going out of mind, and like out of mind going out of style. Understand that. A group or a political entity that does not want to go back into office will not use, of course, the Commonwealth heads of government meeting quite in the other side of the world, in the Pacific Ocean, to try to, of course, justify the presence of a Jindal in the office of the Prime Minister. A grouping or the government or Rowley and they not wanting to go back into office, Rowley will not be hesitant as to when he would leave or whether this is his last term or the term before. A Rowley and PNM government will never engage in the continued construction, presumably, but hopefully not, to complete Balize House. Our PNM government will never engage, of course, in what is now called house padding. Our PNM government, if it wanted to go out of office, would not have gone to the parliament and, of course, try to increase the number of seats in Tobago by 3 in order to get an unfair advantage. A PNM government that wants to go out of government will never bring the false narrative and the false initiative that, of course, property tax is for local government improvement as part of their local government elections campaign. A PNM and Rowley wanted to go out of office will not have postponed the local government elections. So much so that the honorable and the ever vigilant opposition had to go as far as the Privy Council to rectify that situation. Our PNM government will never, of course, have taken the step of abusing the Auditor General in the way that they have in order to cover up their iniquities, or worse yet, go to the courts and even appeal. Let us not waste time. But I will continue, of course, because I ain't reached the conclusion yet. I want you to understand squarely that the PNM wants to remain there in spite of the conclusion of the population, and in spite of the chagrin and the antagonism and the animosity of the people, the electorate. Why? Because they are a collective of despots. They are a collective of criminals. They are a collective of miscreants. They are a collective of people who believe that somehow they could still remain in office to do us evil, or having done us evil, could remain in office. Let's go to Elijah. Press a good night.
Yes, Mr. Lennox Smith, good night.
Good night to you.
And what about I like how you explained the thing, eh? What about how they're controlling all independent institutions?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. You are my heart there now, man. You're picking up where I left off. Go ahead, man. Yes.
Dangerous, eh? That dangerous, you know.
Of course.
And watch now.
Oh, they want to go out of office. They can't want to go out of office and doing that, man. Go ahead, man. Yes.
I hear the executive, they put back Hines to represent, that part of Laventine.
We told you so. We know
but
that.
But I know that.
Yeah, what Balize House to take hold of the
I
situation.
tell you
That's
that.
it. Yeah.
You and I know that.
Yeah,
it must have happened, and it happened.
Yeah,
right?
He as far as Rowley is concerned, is indispensable. And when Rowley tell he jump, he just asks Rowley how high, and the dunderhead, the dotish man, and the when he's a sycophant of Rowley, extraordinary but incompetent, and he will fall with Rowley too. Go ahead.
The government is a puppet government, boy.
Yes.
I tell you, they want here to be a one-party state.
Of course.
Long years before everybody smell the rat. Yes. I know long time they're going back right there. I tell all of that before they smell the rat, or they're smelling it, and all they find it, and all they know it now. So those three and say, oh, they want to go back in power. They want to go right back. They have to go because it's a serious mafia then.
Yes,
well, TC and
I'll get to that
Heavy
part
show,
afterwards. Yes, go ahead.
Show the citizens some information concerning some banks they borrow money from in Latin America.
Yes.
Now, we know about this main Latin American bank. I forget the name of it. I doubt you will remember it. It has always mentioned the name. What's the name of that Latin American bank that have countries in the OAS in it?
The Inter-American Development Bank.
Inter-American, that's right.
Bank, yes.
But then there's another one that these fellas find them out with. But the information they got, they have the former name of the bank. I research it now,
Yes.
And it have a funny name. It just stay in my head. But they get information with the amount of money they keep borrowing from this other bank where the base is in Caracas, Venezuela. And Panama is real money they take out of this bank. And that bank, it have members in it, member countries, and it have private entities in it too. It have about 21 members, and we are a member of that bank. So, they could run in there as they want and take out. Lennox is disgusting. People get real sick listening to that yesterday and today with the amount of borrowing from this Venezuelan-based bank, but it's like a susu bank, I would say, you know, is something like that. So what I find fishy is how on the information, the document these fellas get, it have the former name of the bank. That's what I find. They should have put the correct name. Because when I research, they say is a former name. So we have to watch them, right? They do a lot of false things. You understand? Remember with from day one when this vessel leave here with the free will, he and a man, no matter how Mr. Anne Roberts search up this thing, it have all kind of problem he can't catch up with. So anything they tell us, you have to search and search and search to find out the whole base of it. Well, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
So
Yes,
good
indeed.
night.
Yes, indeed. But of course, Miss Arima, I always connect both of them because they have this ongoing, not few, yeah, but of course, discourse. I'll be able to see. But yes, of course, she did talk about the PNM Rowley wanting not to go back into office will not intensify and further emasculate and to stifle the free, constitutionally protected mandate of institutions such as, of course, the Police Service Commission, such as the Public Service Commission, such as, of course, the commissions or appointing, of course, the persons to even to come, of course, Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority and all these institutions of influence, including the EBC. The EBC, the Elections and Boundaries Commission. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Hey. Yes.
I see the related charges against the 7 policemen.
Yeah.
Right? I hope guys are signing things to come. David West was talking on TV tonight.
All right.
So, in the case of Colin Edwards, the Privy Council said they don't know why he is not being investigated. I hope West pick up that matter too.
All right.
Because if you have that man joining the parliament today, like he ain't do nothing and he, well, like he could beat you in market, he could get him in the hand.
I hear you.
So that action only related charges against them 7 police. I hope they take a turn in him on backside and investigate him as the Privy Council say.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Repeat that again for me.
I say I hope they take a turn in him on backside and investigate him as the Privy Council say.
All right. Yeah.
If they could related charges against the police, and if the Council can understand how come him but has not been investigated, shouldn't they have to investigate him?
Yes, right.
If you have that man yet told in the Parliament, in the Senate today, well enough.
Don't mind them, all of that is theatrics and attempting, of course, to
exactly, I know that.
To show a brave face on something that, of course, they acknowledge they ought to be, of course, imprisoned for.
But what's saying, I hope that are trying things to come.
Well, obviously, because they are in denial. A person, of course, who does wrong and believe he is doing right or doesn't acknowledge it, clearly is extremely dangerous. But they always find themselves in deep water. Of course, as I say, what a tangled web we weave when we first set out to deceive. I interpret that to mean you could get entrapped in your own entanglement.
I was so surprised to see the results on the TV say the related charges against them 7 police. Right?
But you know that can't stand. You know that can't stand, eh?
Well, I don't know.
No, there is a law, there's a principle that says you cannot charge a man twice for the same thing.
I know for murder.
So them know that. So that is a political ploy. That is a Rowley diversion. So that is the latest diversion. I ain't seen it yet, but that has to be the latest diversion.
And if you just a Rowley, is good partner.
yeah. So don't be too taken up with that, and it must make you be taken aback. Yeah.
Because if you just a Rowley, you didn't carry the 15, you remember?
Yes.
Right.
So it's another deflection. We're not going to tell. You see, we already established that they will be engaged in multiple levels and varying degrees of diversion. Yeah, diversion and deflection. So don't be perturbed. What we have to focus on is why it is Imbert has not been investigated. That of course the Vincent Nelson matter, $10 million to of course set up Alan Logan and Ramdeen. The of course kidnapping of Brent Thomas.
Brent Thomas.
Yes, that's right. And the missing of course $2 billion yet to be accounted for, and of course his attempt to of course try to should I say intimidate the Auditor General.
Yeah, but
yeah. And well done. That is what is required of persons who are of the good cloth. They have to come to the fore. Otherwise, evil will prevail. So, evil cannot prevail when good people come to the fore. And of course, the Auditor General is just one in the manifold and many. Yeah.
All right, just playing games here.
Yes.
All right, Rowley is good partners, I tell you.
Yes.
Remember the thing with Alan Logan and Gary Griffith and all that?
Yes,
The Rowley calls the whole setup.
Yes.
Was the whole setup with David West and Rowley? You hear what I tell you this?
Yes.
He just coming on the crap there then on the TV tonight, as you see, to fool the people.
Yeah, that's all that's about. Don't frighten. So he will gallery. That's acting. You know, just saw when Rowley was exposed in the Parliament, with respect, of course, to his rape and of course licentious past. After Imbert made the first presentation, they said they didn't respond and they just walk out because he couldn't face up to his own iniquities of the past, and it was too detrimental because it would have thrown very hot water on the image that he tried to project, and that is he is a corruption buster and was prepared, of course, to attack his own leader, Manning, in order, of course, to save the treasury, when in fact today he's not only a profligate but he's a corruption promoter. He Rowley.
All right.
Yes. All right.
But I know you're going to forget that ever.
I might, friend.
All right, boy.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So people, it cannot be. So let us not waste time with that talk. Let us assume at all times that they want to be in office, and we have a duty and responsibility to resist, no matter any connotation or any configuration to suggest that they don't want to be in office. No, they have to be in office as far as they are concerned. The thing about it is that we are saying they must not be in office because it is on us and they depend. But they were trying, of course, to suggest that somehow they are not dependent on us to get there, even though in 2015 and 20, it's we who put them there. Let's go to the lines of President. Good night. Welcome.
Yes, Lennox.
Hey.
This government borrowed $500 million, like I say, to pay a cadre of lawyers, international lawyers, to fight cases for them. I know what case they're fighting.
Yeah,
A
half
case
a
of
million
sweet
dollars.
drink.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Yeah, a case of sweet drink, a case of chop, whatever they fight, and they ain't win nothing for this country to benefit from it. And they spend 3 point something billion TT dollars behind them fellas. I would like to know who's them lawyers, where they come from, what case they do, and whatever they win or lose for this country, because that ain't adding up. And furthermore, they take out two loans, $200 million each US, to fix the roads in this country. That is what, over $2 billion. You see $2 billion spent in this country during the last 9 years to fix any road in this place? Eh? Anything like that? Your roads infrastructure improved, or it gone bad, or it stagnated at this moment. Now I tell you, they're taking on money under false pretense, under all kind of disguised names. Even in the health institution too, they're taking on money under them to fight different things or to improve the health institutions in the country. And you ain't seeing where the money going, because they're taking the money under those disguise and putting it into something else, right? Or squandering it somewhere else. That's what they were taking this money and using it as forex, but as they get catch with their hand in the cookie jar, they max out the amount of money they could borrow the forex in a jam, because people need the money now and they can't get it. So that is why they were taking all these loans, but they was never using these loans to do anything more than to squander it, right? And you see the end result here. We have to find all these things, You cannot burden the country, the future of this country, with all of these burdens here and expect to get away scot-free, because at the end of the day, once the election call and them get voted out of office, then you run a forensic analysis or in inspection at the Ministry of Finance, and you will find out exactly what went on inside there and what it is in would do, and he must be called to account. He must be held culpable, and the government must be held accountable too. All of them, they must freeze their assets. That way, should freeze all of them assets, freeze every bank account they have, everything like that, and let them pay back for all of the debt they put this country in, especially the future generation of the country, right?
Yes.
And you ain't play the clip. I'll give you the man. You go sit down and laugh when
I'll get it. Don't frighten. I'll get it.
Yeah.
Quite a number of them back up already. So those that I plan to play tonight, just to vindicate Kamala Prasad business. And not that she needs vindicating, but of course to reinforce against the tidal wave of a bunch of nincompoop. Tidal wave in the sense that the numbers are increasing, the PNM are desperate, so they will employ more, but also the asinine nature of the argument could be considered a tidal wave of dotishness that clearly attempted to defend the indefensible. Let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night, Lennox, to you and everybody on the live.
Yes.
Lennox,
Hey.
if my memory serves me right, and I know I have a good memory like you,
Yes.
right? Didn't the Point Fortin Hospital project started under the partnership government?
Yes, it was just as the Arima.
Right. And what they started doing at first was laying the foundation for the hospital, right? For that Point Fortin hospital.
They turned the sod, but the funding was already in place. I'm
It
looking
was
for that
already
right
there.
now. Yes.
And Lennox, and not only the funding, they had already prepared not only the turning of the sod, but they had already prepared the grounds, because they were doing underground work, right? They were coming up, right?
Okay.
But then why is it that we are hearing now, right, from all the invoices and things that TCNM were revealing, that money was borrowed to build the Point Fortin Hospital?
Well, even if it was under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, or if it was a fresh borrowing, but then there's a different story. But if it is that the money...
No, Lennox.
All right.
These invoices that Heavy was reading out, right, is what this government is borrowing.
Oh, the government... All right, okay, all right. That's
Yes.
I've not seen them, but I plan through the Freedom of Information to get a comprehensive list, because
I think Heavy said that he put it up on his TikTok.
All right,
I'm not on TikTok,
I prefer to verify, so I will I will go the freedom of information
Go
route.
through the information,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I raised that today with them.
Yes.
I know the Point Fortin Hospital was they started it, the partnership government as well as the Arima Hospital, and then when he was reading out the invoices, he said that money was borrowed for the Point Fortin Hospital. They are double dipping. They are double dipping, Lennox.
Yeah, well, if money was again borrowed, that's the point I was making. If money was again borrowed, well, then that's a different story. But certainly,
Yeah.
we have on record of Dial Singh, of course, talking about monies that they met there. You have, of course, Imbert talking about the monies that were met there, and of course, the Point Fortin Hospital, the Arima Hospital, were part and parcel of that whole, should I say, borrowing scenario that they disclose to the public. So today, if it lives on them, then so a person like myself, I will want to compare what transpired then under the UNC in terms of borrowing and what transpired under this administration. Of course, the time the time difference will put you in a solid place. So it cannot be money that borrowed in, let's say, 2000 or let's say 17 or 18. It cannot be that money was borrowed by the UNC, and conversely or similarly, if monies were borrowed in 2014, 2013, it couldn't be under this administration. So those kinds of nuances we need, of course, to extrapolate, because we don't want to mislead or in any way, of course, get on a high horse.
Misinformation. Because you know you have already been accused of bringing misinformation.
That's
you
right.
know that,
That's right.
You understand?
Yes,
so we
yes.
cannot afford. We really don't want to give no credit to that.
That's right.
So when we know that is not true.
You see, because there is a psychological condition called framing, when of course you can take a exception and make it the norm. That Rowley and they has that capacity. That is why we are so careful. In fact, I am responsible for that on the ground report, that we do not say things that that one little thing could create, of course, let's say a conflagration on and throw hot water or cold water, depending on perspective, on those things that we would have said. In other words, questioning our integrity and our credibility. We are not going to tolerate that, and we are not. And out of an abundance of caution, I would do that, because if you talk these things loosely and it turns out that they could prove otherwise, you understand what happens, even though it's a mistake.
Yeah. I understand that, Lennox. But as I said, I remembered when the partnership government, because in Eric Williams' last budget, right, the Point Fortin Hospital was budgeted, right, to be built. Look at how many years Eric Williams died, and they take the partnership government to come and start it, right? And as I said, it was very suspicious that money was borrowed, because when they were reading, the money was borrowed for drains, and you not seen anything, right? And where the COVID money went, Lennox? Where did the COVID money go? That is something we still have to find out. But Lennox, I saw that you were there at the meeting last night.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I saw that you were there.
You were there?
The pictures.
You were there?
No.
Oh.
I saw the pictures.
I
saw the pictures.
She called us and she insisted that we take a picture with her. We went there on a different mission, but apparently she wanted to make it public. So she asked all of us to give somebody our respective cell phones, and each one of us, Andy, Michael, and myself, would have had to go away with a picture with her. Of course, my phone wasn't there, so she asked me where my phone. I said, well, on missions like these, I like to, of course, not be with my phone, but from now on, I'll have to walk with it.
That's right. It's a photo op.
Yeah.
But Lennox, as we started the conversation, and we went into misinformation.
Yes.
Right? Now, I find it very distasteful with people when they like to bring misinformation. I understand that. And last night's meeting was really, really good. Now, a caller on the program this morning, he said that, they talk about vagrancy, and we don't. No, that was not what the program was about last night. If he had taken the time, And I don't know what is his problem with Mrs. Prasad Sessa. I don't know if she take away his false teeth. I don't know if she take away his hearing aid. I don't know what, or his white fowl, that he has his problem against Mrs. Prasad Sessa, right? Lennox, the program was about national security. The program was about, they talk about second chances. They spoke about not having halfway house after the people come out of rehab and all this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that is when Mr. Mirage was talking about, he knew of a guy, a vagrant, and he tried to help him. And after he went to the Dole Shady rehab center, when he came out, there was nowhere for him to go. And 9 months after, he ended up back as a vagrant on the streets, right? That was not the whole program, Lennox. And then they spoke about the domination of the pharmaceuticals in the country, who dominated all the license.
Of certain...
The monopoly on it, right. And they talked...
One element,
And she also spoke about compensation for victims. Now, I remember when she was there, they had that plan. And then it was scrapped and Rowley and them came into office. I don't know if it was still there. So you see, Lennox, how many things that she spoke about, they spoke about last night, right? And with national, because they're building their national security manifesto, right? So she was welcoming ideas and all this kind of thing. So to say that they were only talking, but you see, Lennox, let me tell you something, Now, if somebody didn't know, right, what went on in the program, they would be of the impression like they were only speaking about vagrants.
And that's why we are here. That's why we are here, and we try to be ubiquitous.
To correct
it. We try to be present at every opportunity. And
let people know who didn't go listen to the program last night, who were not able to, we let them know, well, this is what was said, and it, Lennox, and even I sent you an article written by I think it's Bowler, I can't remember his surname, right? Lennox, a really, really nice article. They must take the time and read it. And he spoke about the meeting last night. And Lennox, you can bet your bottom dollar. You see that meeting that went there last night? It was very successful, in my opinion, and other people's opinion.
But
right?
I don't think there's any opinion that could shift otherwise. Let's not waste time. I was there. I will be surprised. I will be surprised if they are. But of course, we know that any surprise of that nature, which I would not be surprised about, is mischief. But go ahead.
Yes, mischief. Yeah. We know the mischief, and you can bet your bottom dollar before the week is out, or before the end of the month reach, somebody's going to come and do something, because every time after she has a successful tongue meeting, something comes up to try to bring her down. Right? And that meeting was really, really successful last night. And even that letter that gentleman wrote, he spoke about it. It was really nice. And today, Mikey had both Heavy and Stephen Reese on his program.
All right.
And it was a really good program. And Stephen also spoke about it, about the meeting, and he really commended Mrs. Prasad Sessa. And he asked, and this is a question that he keep asking, tell us, what did Rowley give you all and Kamala took it away, that you all hate this woman so? He said he could jump high, he could jump low. She did a lot. She did a lot in the 5 years that she was there. Rowley had 9 years. And what did Rowley do? What did he do? But you see, Lennox, voting have consequences, right? And people who still want to sit on the fence, something is wrong with them, right? You all have seen what it is going on in this country. You all are with the crime and everything, and yet still, all you need people to convince all you that to vote out this government. No, Lennox, something is definitely wrong with the people of this society, right? Because we are living it, we are facing it, and we should not. Nobody should have to encourage me or try to convince me who I should be voting for, right? And like everybody now, all these talk shows and them, including you all, everybody now is on the same page that Rowley and them needs to go, especially now as Heinz, we are seeing now, Heinz is being chosen to go back up for Laventille. The people of Laventille,
But
they
the house
all
intervene,
want
they're so damn
Lennox.
stupid.
Lennox,
Right,
like
yeah.
they don't have no sympathy for these
They have
people.
no brain.
And you know, Lennox, they're going to vote back that man
Yeah,
again.
that's zombies,
and he
that's
did
zombies, that's
nothing
no
for
brain.
them.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course.
Yeah, he did nothing for them.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Lennox,
yes,
and have a good night.
Yes, yes. Tonight, of course, I want to be as pellucid and as blatant as possible because crunch time is coming and we have to put things in perspective. Those who, of course, are seeing Rowley and they as viable or somehow you cannot explain why it is the hate Kamala Prasad Bisesa. But let me tell you this. Maybe because my background is, of course, teaching, of course, there's psychology, sociology, and then, of course, we have in criminology, of course, we have a number of other sciences, and, of course, case studies that you have to, of course, write upon, pronounce upon, narrate about, etc. I can say categorically. And having, of course, some experience in the politics, because I have been in the parliament as a temporary senator. I did contest, of course, the elections, national elections in 2007. And, of course, I was asked in Laventille to, of course, mount a PNM platform. I think in the 1984 local government elections to talk about, of course, what we expect in my neighborhood of Passy Street and environs. And I can tell you, it was because of that particular experience, my animosity and my anathema grew and grew exponentially, and now, of course, extremely sustained, that the PNM is no damn good and must be, of course, eliminated from the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what I am committed to. That is why I speak very, very not glibly, but with a high degree of specificity, a post-Rowley and post-PNM period after Kamala Prasad Bisesa would have come into government and the UNC in 2025. You see, there I was told, and it was in their local government manifesto of that year, when they said that there would have been a basketball court, etc., and a complex for Passy Street. The land was identified, and up to this day, it has not been constructed. So my formulation of what the PNM is as a wicked, diabolical, evil, opportunistic, political, parasitic, and now we know now a criminal enterprise of a mafia nature is well ensconced, not only in my mind and not only indelibly implanted therein, but I'm sure with all right-thinking people like myself, because I could easily have been a lackey or a stool of the PNM and encourage, of course, the people to commit socio-economic and psycho-cultural suicide. I could have done that. It would have been easy for me. I'm from Laventille, and therefore, of course, I got an opportunity. But no, I resisted that. And when, of course, you would see in future, when we formed, of course, the MLIO, the Mobile Laventille Improvement Organization, and over 6,000 young people graduated from it. And, of course, that is on our own volition, recognizing the problem, work that the government ought to have done. But because of the dominance of the PNM, it has, of course, become, I wouldn't say totally, but certainly quasi-dormant. Not surprising, because I will not, of course, succumb to, of course, that level of butchery, that level of chicanery, that level of evil on principle. And we'll have a lot of talk, you know, because, of course, and you will see that from the MLIO simultaneously, we also formed a party called LOVE, Laventille Outreach for Vertical Enrichment, which, of course, will take the community to the next level and displace, of course, the PNM. That is what this was all about. And the transformation continues through, of course, programs like this. And that is why we have, and it's not by accident, we could have called it, of course, as a Laventille specific, but it would have been too what I consider to be selfish. So therefore we call it the corridor transformation. But of course would include, of course, as a central figure, that of the Laventilles. So it's not by accident, people. There's a plan. And we will, of course, share it with you on this program. And so it is important that we understand these fundamentals. So to say that people hate Kamala, they appear to hate Kamala because it is being seen through the spectrum, through the prism of Rowley's mouth, his eyes, his ears, and his ugliness. And you can extend that, of course, to the PNM. The extent to which someone hates Kamala, because they have no reason. So it can only be through the mouth, the eyes, and the ears, and the ugliness of Keith Christopher Rowley and the PNM. Understand that. That is why. Keep them aside, and you eliminate all of that, and you will hear them speak consciously, and of course, indicating that they really have no beef with Kamala Persad-Bissessar, because she is, of course, clearly the savior of Trinidad and Tobago in more ways than one. Let's go to the lines. Professor, good night.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you,
and
my
good night
friend.
to everybody on the live.
Yes.
Good night to everyone.
Yeah.
Mr. Lennox, listen. After I listened to Heavy and TC.
Yeah.
Because I saw the documents and so forth that I was reading from. Mr. Lennox, I get sick, you know. These men and them didn't create a hole for this country, you know. They created a crater. These men and them is nothing but a bunch of swindlers, you know. We have a bunch of swindlers like government.
Yes.
And listen, these men have to make a serious jail.
Kleptocrats. Yeah,
yes, they have to make a serious jail. Them have to go before the international court, because them fellas and them have literally robbed the unborn, you know.
Yes.
Children who unborn here, them fellas and them robbed them, you know.
Yeah.
These men and them is evil. These men and women, wicked people. Boy, listen, man, God have a special place in hell for Rowley and them, you know. He's the too evil, boy. Yeah. So, I'm not feeling too well, because after hearing what I hear from TC and Heavy, I look at the go now, because I'm feeling really sick.
I hear you, my friend, and that is well placed. You must feel to the point of ad nauseum, sickening, with, of course, the constant bombardment, and they will not stop. And I don't want anybody to say, I think we have disabused that tonight, that they don't want to remain in office. They want to remain in office. And that they hate Kamala Persad-Bissessar because that is being seen through the mouth, eyes, and ears and ugliness of a Rowley and the PNM. That is the only sound. You take that away. So, in other words, that hatred is artificial. It is not natural. That's the point I am making. You see, tonight, I have to be fair. But of course, let us go to see first and foremost, that we just bring to you what monies were left there by the Kamala Persad-Bissessar administration.
2008 was the year when our country earned the most money in the history of this country.
So we will get an idea as to the amount of monies that was owed sorry, that was borrowed by the UNC and left for what purpose, and left by the UNC for
Mr. Speaker,
which the PNM
oil
inherited.
prices dropped from the average of $100 a barrel to $60 a barrel in 2009. This resulted in an almost catastrophic.
So when I come into government, I meet a whole set of loan arrangements for hospitals, for military vessels, for all sorts of things. Billions. Arima Hospital, 1.8 billion. Kuva Hospital, 1.5 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. Vessels, Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. So when I come into government, I meet a whole set of loan arrangements for hospitals, for military vessels, for all sorts of things. Billions. Arima Hospital, 1.8 billion. Kuva Hospital, 1.5 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. 1.8 billion. Billions. Arima Hospital, 1.8 billion. Arima Hospital, 1.8 billion. Arima Hospital, 1.8 billion. Arima Hospital, 1.8 billion. Hospital, 1.6 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion. Point 14 Hospital, 1.6 billion.
I don't have to read and spell for you. So, if it is that there was an additional loan for the Point 14 Hospital, we need to know. We need to know. We need to know. That was the voice, of course, just in case you're playing, you don't know, you sycophants. It is the voice of the current Minister of Finance, who, when they came into government, they met those loans there. So that is why I told you that I am not going to, without verification, say categorically my position until, of course, I get the other piece of information clearly that is required. A pleasant good night to welcome.
A pleasant good night again, Lennox.
Go ahead.
Lennox, thank you. Well, thank you for playing out what Amber said. It confirmed what I just said, that monies were borrowed for the Point 14 Hospital. Monies were borrowed for there. Lennox, but they talk about the billions that they met. Didn't the partnership government bet $72 billion in that? The CLICO, the 8 billion that they borrowed to the CLICO arrangement, the very first amount of money that Kamala and them had to pay back was 139 million to Broadgate that Patrick Manning took to build. You remember that project down there by Citygate? He called it Broadgate.
Yes.
The people won the case against the government, and that was in June. They came in May, and in June Kamala and them had to pay out that money. What about the millions, the billions that they borrowed from Wells Fargo and all about to build the government campus? All that money that they borrowed, and the partnership government had to pay, and projects that were supposed to be completed in 2007 and 2009, right? Is the partnership government had to complete it between 2010 and 2011. So I don't know what nonsense he's talking about, like if government debts don't roll over. But Lennox, let me read. I know it's getting late, but I want to read something for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right? Fumes Kamala left in the treasury. They keep lying and saying that the government, the country had no money, only 3 days to run the country. 1.5 billion to be collected from the Phoenix Park IPO. 3.8 billion TGU capital payment. $500 million in dividends from NGC, millions in payment from CLICO. They left 10.5 billion in Forex, 6 billion in the HSF, 25 billion in NIS, and 26 billion in cash and more. Lennox, is that fumes?
Of course not,
And
but
people
that is in
lying and
addition.
saying-
That is in addition to the loans that they met there, and the 10-point-something billion in reserves, and of course the 5.5 billion in the Heritage and Civilization Fund, and indeed, in addition to that 5 billion, of course, in excess liquidity in the banks of the country. Go ahead.
Because Imbert admitted at that press conference together with Rowley, he said the country finances were not insignificant. Imbert said that there were unspent balances. Every ministry had unspent balances of over $500 million, right? Including the sports ministry. And he was going to take $147 million to finish the aquatic center. I don't know if he had to pay all that in water. I don't know what they were finishing. Plus, they were going to fix up recreation grounds. Did they ever fix up any recreation grounds?
Stay right
That's
there.
a big lie.
Miss Salgo, stay right there. Stay right there. Stay right there.
Yeah.
Stay right there. Stay right
A lot of the ministries have money in bank accounts that the last government borrowed that they couldn't spend because they ran out of time. Sport is one of them. Sport had $500 million sitting on in a bank account, believe it or not. Now it was, a lot of the ministries have money in bank accounts that the last government borrowed that they couldn't spend because they ran out of time. Sport is one of them. Sport had $500 million sitting on in a bank account, believe it or not.
Go ahead. I thought I should confirm what you just said. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Lennox.
Yes,
Thank you very much. You see, people feel when I talk, I'm spewing nonsense. I don't. Look, you have the proof there.
Yes,
right?
instantaneous
that they had money
proof.
in the bank.
Yes.
Yeah, that they had money, and he said that they were going to spend. I want to know, why did they take $147 million to do what in the aquatic center, Lennox? Right? But you see, as I was telling Mikey today on his program, they lied so much to us, Lennox, right? Now, one of the issues that was raised by Stephen Reese was the property tax. Now we are hearing Brian Manning is saying that they have not reached the 50%. When Imber told us that they had reached more than the 50%, and we have to pay the property tax. Yeah. Lennox is lies. They keep lying to the people all the time. But let me tell you something, Lennox. Their lies are going to run out very soon. Because if Brian Manning did not say that, we was going to be still of the impression, right, that they crossed the 50%. Yes. So you see, things just happening away, Lennox, for somebody to come and reveal the things that they're doing. Somebody to come and reveal what it is that they're doing to this country, right? But Lennox, let me tell you something, as I said before, elections have consequences, and let people continue to blame Kamala for what God in heaven knows what, and those study to get Rowley out of office. Because they are, if they, God forbid, that they get back their Lennox, you see what they didn't do us in this last 10 years? They're going to find something to do us.
Of course, evil men can only do one thing: perfect
evil,
pursue, execute, and all in evil. When dishonorable people acquire honorable office, the only result can only be dishonorableness, and therefore that level of evil that you have just described. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's true, Lennox. No, you see, and according to what the gentleman before me, what it is, he said, he's a poor man feeling sick. You understand?
Yes.
People in the country sick,
ad
but it's
nauseum,
only the PNMites,
yes,
it's only the PNMites. It is nothing to them, because you know why it's nothing to them? Because it's PNM doing it. But all the lies that Rowley told them, they believed it. Like when he lied and he said Kamala used all the money from the HSF. If Kamala had used that money, where are they getting money from now, Lennox? And yesterday, crayfish posse and them, they wouldn't sit down and realize, this man lied to us. No, they also love this man.
Tonight, one of the objectives is to, of course, not just exonerate and not just sanitize and not just relinquish once and for all that devastating misinformation, disinformation, and blatant lies on Kamala Persad-Bissessar as she moves inexorably into the office of Prime Minister, replacing, of course, Rowley in the next general elections. We need to make the sacrifice, and they understand.
Lennox, and I am right there with you.
Yes.
I am right there, side by side with you. We are going to defend her. We are going to defend her because we saw the good works that she did, and we know the good works that she continued doing, right? And especially, you see those town hall meetings, Lennox.
Yes.
When I tell you that is a dagger, are darker in the heart. And
yeah, well, we can't do it. Well, we can't do it. They cannot even, of course,
Right.
maintain the data for an internal elections. I mean, the party clearly is imploding. Of course, they were trying to give what I consider to be a sanitized, not a sanitized, but a comforting face to the public. But we know internally they are imploding, and we are
They're
going to
imploded
assist in
because
that
Lennox,
process.
have you realized that up to now Rowley has not addressed that issue with the internals?
He can't
He has
because
not
there's so
addressed it, you
many
know.
moving parts that are anti.
That's right.
Anti
And he
him.
can't
Yeah.
pin it down.
Yeah, yeah.
He can't pin it down.
Yeah, so he
Anyway,
cannot-
Lennox,
he cannot
thanks
go
a
to-
lot again,
Yes,
eh?
indeed. Thank you very much, of
All
course,
right, later.
external, of
No
course,
problem.
external contributor to the corridor transformation. And as you said, once you raise the facts, we are able, of course, to instantaneously prove. Let's go straight, of course, to another piece of proof.
2008 was
And I know the member for Dabadi or me, some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. I want to remind honorable members opposite of some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. Members opposite of some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. Clico, 25 billion. Members opposite of some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. Members opposite of some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. Members opposite of some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. Clico, 25 billion. Ministry of Housing, 8 billion. WASA, 4 billion. And I know the member for Dabadi O'Meara likes to talk about 4 billion WASA debt. That debt is a cumulative debt for over 20 years. Outstanding VAT, 2 billion. Owed contractors, 2 billion. Loan for the waterfront, 2.7 billion. Outstanding fuel subsidy, 6 billion. Loan for the Taruba Stadium, 500 million. Loan for Rapid Rail, 500 million. Petrotrin, 12.5 billion. Outstanding wage negotiations, 9 billion. Over $72 billion in outstanding debts left by the PNM in 2010. So
now, now people be careful. Eh? That is what Kamla Prasad Bissessa inherited, you know, by our outgoing PNM in 2010. Now we are hearing, because clearly between 2010 and 2015, she would not have been able, of course, to pay off all of that, except, of course, to meet the amortization or the sums that would be due from time to time to reduce, of course, the debt. But, of course, here we have a situation where $90 more billion has been borrowed. She couldn't clear that in 5 years. Rowley clearly has a pile more. So we have a debt to GDP of about 90%. She left it there, if we want to give a measurement, of around 44%. He doubled that in 9 years. And before that, Kamala Prasad Bissessa inherited, of course, this.
Outstanding fuel subsidy. Dabadi O'Meara likes to talk about
successive governments inherit is the national debt.
I want to remind...
Did use some of the savings in 2009 in that year of recession. These are facts. 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 Mr. Speaker, what successive governments inherit is the national debt. These are facts. These are facts. Mr. Speaker, what successive governments inherit is the national debt. These are facts. These are facts. Mr. Speaker, what successive governments inherit is the national debt.
I want to remind honorable members opposite of some of the debts left by the PNM in 2010. Clico, 25 billion. Ministry of Housing, 8 billion. WASA, 4 billion. And I know the member for Dabadi O'Meara likes to talk about 4 billion WASA debt. That debt is a cumulative debt for over 20 years. Outstanding VAT, 2 billion. Owed contractors, 2 billion. Loan for the waterfront, 2.7 billion. Outstanding fuel subsidy, 6 billion. Loan for the Taruba Stadium, 500 million. Loan for Rapid Rail, 500 million. Petrotrin, 12.5 billion. Outstanding wage negotiations, 9 billion. Over $72 billion in outstanding debts left by the PNM in 2010. Outstanding wage negotiations, 9 billion. Over $72 billion in outstanding debts left by the PNM in 2010. So over $72 billion in outstanding debts left by the PNM in 2010. So when they whine like a turbine about the hand dealt with them, that was the hand dealt to us.
Mr. Speaker.
Over $72 billion in outstanding debts left by the PNM in 2010. Over $72 billion in outstanding debts left by the PNM in 2010. So when they whine like a turbine about the hand dealt with them, that was the hand dealt to us.
Mr. Speaker, what successive governments inherit is the national debt.
We left.
Yes, indeed. And of course, Kamala Prasad Bissessa did not mope and groan. She took it, but Rowley was saying when he came in, she should not have negotiated them with those trade unions to give higher wages to the employees. Hold on the tail. That's the people money. Your job is to expand the economy. Instead of expanding the economy between 2015 and now to accommodate, you contract it. And then, of course, the replacement is borrow and borrow and borrow. As if, of course, borrowing means expansion. And that the population, as somebody said, the unborn, will now have to pay. Only mismanage under tremendous corruption and nepotism. And we must accept that as a fact.
2008 was the year when our country earned the most money in the history of this country.
And I'm saying that that's a fact, that they earned the most amount of money. And that was the time when Rowley was saying none of his constituents could afford an additional $100 on property tax. That same year today, he introduces, of course, a property tax after he said that he's not going to introduce it. And don't get me vexed before I play it, because tonight I'm feeling as to vindicate. To vindicate, don't get me vexed before I play it, because I know you sycophants. Yes, you sycophants. I know all your belly aching, but there is more. Can't come with all your hogwash and regurgitation and spitting from Rowley mouth and listening to the nonsense that he spews, and with a level of ugliness about the physical, internal, and of course, as far as their conduct is concerned, ugliness, and want to play that all you defending what? There's nothing to defend.
This is one of the things we need to talk to people about.
Let me take
just
that.
like the
let
other
me take that one. I'm glad you raised that.
2015.
A UNC minister, I think it was the famous Prakash Ramadar, telling people that the PNM will bring back the dreaded property tax. Let me make it abundantly clear. The property tax has already been dealt with. What this government did a few years ago, they returned to land and building taxes in phases. The first phase of bringing the tax back was to treat with commercial properties. The second phase was agricultural properties. And the third phase, which they very willingly, knowingly put beyond the next election, is the residential. So as I speak to you now, arrangements are already in place, put by this UNC administration, for land and building taxes for residential properties to come back into being after September 7th. That was done by Larry Hawaii when he became Minister of Finance.
So it is clear that the building taxes must to come back, and anybody claiming that Kamala should have, of course, repealed the act if she really didn't want it, as the narrative for Rowley and they opportunistic as they are, is nonsensical. Because if I was Kamala and Rowley talking in that way, that he would never engage in property tax, and of course back in 2008-9 he said that not one of his constituents could afford an additional 100. Obviously right now the minimum that you have to pay, what if your property has been assessed for under $14,000, you must pay $500 at a time when the economy has emasculated, has been curtailed, and has been, of course, badly managed, and of course there is no expansion. And here it is, he wants to impose that on top of people's fixed salary income. This man is evil to the core.
So for anybody in the
Listen
government
to him now.
to be telling the population that this PNM coming into office will bring back that tax is the highest level of dishonesty which has been the hallmark of this UNC government. So
Just imagine that. Let's imagine that. Let me hear him again.
Level of dishonesty which has that this PNM coming into office became Minister of Finance. So for anybody in the government now to be telling the population that this PNM coming into office will bring back that tax is the highest level of dishonesty, became Minister of Finance. So for anybody in the government now to be telling the population that this PNM coming into office will bring back that tax is the highest level of dishonesty, became Minister of Finance. So for anybody in the government now to be telling the population that this PNM coming into office will bring back that tax is the highest level of dishonesty, which has been the whole.
And he's so wicked, he said it's the hallmark of the UNC. Listen to him.
Hallmark of this UNC government. So I'm glad you raised it, so I make it abundantly clear. The tax for residential properties have already been put back in place to come into being in 2015, put there by the UNC government. 2016.
All right. You get confused. You get confused, people. That is evil. But to vindicate Kamala, let's say one embarrassing moment.
Kamala Prasad, Bicesta's members of family all receive rentals from the government. Kamala Prasad, Bicesta's members of family all receive rentals from the government.
I can categorically state and confirm that no family members of the member for Siparia benefited from any government rentals. This matter, Madam Speaker, is grounded on the fact that the member for San Fernando West deliberately misled this honorable House and by extension the viewing citizens of the country, as he knew or ought to have known the statement he made was a deliberate untruth. It was false and it was incorrect.
The member for Oropouche East has since refuted my statements, which reflected upon the member for Siparia. In those circumstances, I withdraw my statements and hereby apologize to the member for Siparia.
Liar and thief.
Member for San Fernando West deliberately misled this honorable House and by extension the viewing citizens of the country, as he knew or ought to have known the statement he made was a deliberate untruth.
That's right.
It was false and it was incorrect.
I withdraw my statements and hereby apologize to the member for Siparia.
Okay.
Kamala Prasad, Bicesta's members of family all receive rentals from the government.
The statement he made was a deliberate untruth. It was false and it was incorrect.
I withdraw my statements and hereby apologize to the member for Siparia.
Yes, man. But that's not all, people. Let's finish with this one, because we have to go on as to what we can do or must do in a post-Rowley, post-PNM government in this country. Let us not lose any sleep over that and understand that we have a duty and responsibility to take up the gauntlet now that we would have gotten them out of office by the closure of the next elections. But let us look at probably the most significant vindication there could be was that email that catapulted this wicked, nasty, evil, diabolical power mongers into office in 2015. And that is, of course, those evil and what I consider to be unholy, deadly, and of course, treasonous emails. Listen to this. Listen to this. Vindication
they were
tonight.
Never legitimate emails. So you could not have traced what was given to what was there in the account because it was never. They were never legitimate emails. 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 So you could not have traced what was given to what was there in the account because it was never provided. It was never there. It was something that was typed out by someone.
The facts about Emailgate.
After several years under investigation, the Emailgate case has been closed. Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith highlighted what the investigator found and what they were actually looking for.
Correspondence that was provided that got in the hands of the then opposition leader, that it was confirmed, obviously, even prior to it being scrutinized by the relevant authorities in outside of Trinidad and Tobago, that there was not legitimate emails. So you would have seen all of the discrepancies that would have taken place. So they were not authentic emails. What was done was to verify if what was put there actually came in on the emails of the accounts of the individuals questioned. They were never legitimate emails. So you could not have traced what was given to what was there in the account because it was never provided. It was never there. It was something that was typed out by someone.
Yes, people, that's the reality. I know that some of you sacrifice are feeling sick.
They were never legitimate emails. They were never legitimate emails. So they were never legitimate emails. They were never legitimate emails. They were never legitimate emails. So you could not have traced what was given to what was there in the account because it was never provided. It was never there. It was something that was typed out by someone.
The facts about Emailgate.
After several years under investigation, the Emailgate case has been closed. Commissioner of Police Gary Griffith highlighted what the investigator found and what they were actually looking for.
Correspondence that was provided that got in the hands of the then opposition leader, that it was confirmed, obviously, even prior to it being scrutinized by the relevant authorities in outside of Trinidad and Tobago, that there was not legitimate emails. So you would have seen all of the discrepancies that would have taken place. So they were not authentic emails. What was done was to verify if what was put there actually came in on the emails of the accounts of the individuals questioned.
They were never legitimate emails. So you could not have traced what was given to what was there in the account because it was never provided. It was never there. It was something that was typed out by someone. Yes, people, that is the reality. We don't have to make up anything. They have palpable, tactile proof. These nincompoop, these talk show hoax, and the apologists of them pie in the sky kind of what I consider fantasy. Their phantomism has no boundary, and they would just say things for saying sake, hoping that somehow, like probably Lagley or mortar, it stick on the wall or stick somewhere. Hollow your tail unless all you could prove. Hollow your tail, and that is what you must demand as a citizen. Forget the sycophants, and they will say whatever they wanted to defend the indefensible. But of course, we have a duty to save them too, because they feel in the pinch as well. Except, of course, those who are eating from the national trough. I'm talking about those persons who are getting some kind of 30 pieces of silver. Well, they are being paid like Rowley would be paying himself to betray the country. And we have a duty to say no. You have a duty to say no. You have a duty to expel them. They must not believe that they can extricate themselves. I'm going to say execute, but extricate themselves from the entanglement of corruption, nepotism, and cronyism that they have, of course, foisted on the people of Trinidad and Tobago publicly, demonstrably, and conspicuously over the last 9 years, and of course into the next one, making it 10. I'm not surprised that Hines is being considered for the returning to Laventille East or Laventille West. But I want to tell the people of Laventille West to finally, if all you continue along that path, history will show that all have more stomach than a kobo. You know what I say? I say, if all continue along that path, accepting that level of incompetence, impotence, and that false Rastafarian, who of course has demonstrated his level of incompetence in every political and or ministerial office that he would have found himself. And you want, of course, that peacock, plenty flair but no depth. And if I want to continue with that, go ahead. But my job is to let you know what the facts are. And then, of course, at the same time, ask for the opportunity for those who are willing to assist and listen. He's going to go there and believe he knows all, and it turns out to be nothing. And you're going to continue, of course, to be wallowing in a cesspool of crime, criminality, our young people gravitating to a life of crime and poverty, and of course, below the poverty line, you exist. And they are going to, of course, go where their new homes are. And as typical absentee Laventillians, they will come and say, I had once been associated with Laventille, and I am a symbol of what Laventille can produce. Whilst, of course, decadence and retrogression and the deterioration abounds, and family, of course, disintegrate, and the children, of course, gravitate into gangs and gang warfare, and, of course, they kill each other, and, of course, continuing, of course, the notion of Laventille being the killing fields. Go ahead. As I said, only have more belly than a kobo. And of course, you have a duty for those who, because they are steeped in what they consider to be tradition, because of course human beings are creatures of tradition, they are creatures of habits. And then you, as a young person, must understand you must break that habit, and one way or another, you must, of course, tell Granny and tell those middle-aged persons that this has nothing to do with color of skin. This has nothing to do with texture of hair. This has nothing to do with mama guy talk and indoctrination, and telling you, of course, that, of course, you are not a monkey, and that bananas are for monkeys, etc. And you go and give this man and this group of criminals, this criminal enterprise, that, of course, is billing. Somebody say, my little son, he's 10 years, and he say, it looking like a mall. A mall, that's to tell you the palatial nature of that ill-gotten and the people's money, blood money, and it is painted in red, so you'll understand, symbolizing blood money, constructing that monstrosity called Balize House. Come on! Balize House must no longer have influence on Laventille. And the executive of the PNM in Laventille, I say to you, you are perfidious. You are people who have betrayed the Laventille cause, and you ought not to be in any leadership position there to, of course, voice a fellow like Hines once again, because the Balize say so. And nobody else, whether it's Marcel or anybody else, wants, of course, it is the PNM. Yes, indeed. Somebody correct me and say my son is 9 years, but he's saying is I'm all. Whether 9, 6 or 7 or 10. It's a blasted mall, it's true, palatial, and they must not benefit from that. We must be able to investigate them and to find out where that money came from. Over $100 million after you said in 2015, Rowley, that of course the PNM was broken. It was of course in total tatters as far as finances is concerned. Over $5 million it was owing, and suddenly you could find $100 million. Why? Because the PNM is in government, and only because of that. If they were not in government, in other words, the $5 million would have still be owing all now. Let us not waste time, people. And as I said once again, I make no bones that if Lamberton continues on that trend, you have more belly than a blasted Kobo. Kobo. People, we have come to the end, of course, of tonight's exercise. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. And don't forget as well, of course, we rely on you for our Christmas hamper and, of course, toy drive, or should I say assistance program. We are in an environment where, of course, the very people like that of Lamberton, socio-economic and psycho-culturally similar. And, of course, are in abject need, in spite of the support for the PNM being in government longer than most. And then they want, of course, they have the audacity and the temerity to still want to remain there. And then, of course, people making excuses that they don't want to be. Yes, they want to be. And we must therefore deepen our animosity and our hatred and our determination to get rid of this albatross called the PNM. Once and for all. Don't forget, of course, the Shouter Baptist hamper. Yes, the Shouter Baptist. Learning Institute's program. Yes, we would want, of course, to assist as they collaborate, of course, with the corridor transformation to, of course, assist needy families, and particularly the children. Please call, of course, my number. You can call. There are two numbers there. You can call me if you want to talk to me personally. If you have some contribution to make, we will really appreciate for and on behalf of these kids. Having said that, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Don't forget, once again, Andy, Mikey, and myself from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, the ground report. And, of course, don't forget from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, we have, of course, Gael, the Caribbean television. We'll be on, of course, bringing these and other issues to you. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I know that you feel I'm sure that you feel satisfied and that you are saturated with the yearning for more. Well, you have to wait until tomorrow night. Have a wonderful one. Bye-bye.
I have a political cemetery. It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fork with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politicians, only making up numbers in my island. Al-Rari, I refuse body. I leave them Muslim, them to deal with he. Big smile on my face and with maybe a hand. It's time to move trash from out of this land. Prepare his body, make sure he have a sardonic grin on his face. That's all he does do, that man is a waste. Bury in the back of my cemetery, turn he upside down, he face I can see. Look for the strongest grave digger to cover he. Not with the hand, put good fork on he. Gypsy, political grasshopper, I may feel little pity cause he's my brother. But like Tarzan, he's swinging from vine to vine. It's time I help you to make up your mind. Fitzgerald, Rasta City, I know they go glad to get the body. Resi on beat and dump for all to see. Drink 2 beers and watch Coco get happy. One we sacrifice, yet every week she have new weave, man, she living nice. You and the cold pot man resemble and strong. A bum city dread and you like